I'd mentioned that Earl was flying for FedEx, and one day he taxied into San Antonio to shut down and put the airplane away, and the tower told him, says, "You need to get your radio fixed." He said, "We can just barely understand you." And so he had a mechanic take a look at the radio and said, "There's not a thing wrong with this radio." And he realized that it was his voice. His wife called me and asked me to stop in and see him the next time I was in San Antonio. And lo and behold, within a day or two, I had a trip to San Antonio. And I called, and she said, "Well, he's at the hospital getting an exam." And so I went to the hospital and tracked him down. And he said, "I've just been told I have Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. And of course, there's no cure. And so it's like he's just been handed a death sentence." In Earl's case, the reason he couldn't speak well on the radio, or to anyone for that matter, was that his vocal cords had begun to atrophy. But he made up his mind to fight this disease. And he was willing to try anything the doctors could come up with to see just how long he could keep himself alive. He managed to stay alive for about 4.5 years. During that time, the first thing he got was a little program for his computer, a laptop computer. And no, it was a PC, but he put this program in, and he could type whatever he wanted to say, press a button, and the computer would do the talking for him. And it was amazing. This guy's, he knows what he's up against. And yet you walk in, and he'd look up and see who it is, and he'd hit the keys a few times and press a button, and, "Hi, Bob, I got a good joke for you." He said, and that was his attitude. He was going to stay upbeat, and he was going to fight it all the way. And as his muscles continued to atrophy, he became wheelchair bound. I thought, all that wheelchair is good for is right here inside this house, and maybe on the patio, and that's it. That's as far as he's going. I said, it'd be nice if he had a powered wheelchair. I called 7 friends, each of whom chipped in $100. And we started looking for a wheelchair, powered wheelchair. Well, in my Learjet flying, I happened to be working part-time for a company who ran an air ambulance service. So they were very instrumental in helping us find a motorized wheelchair. However, it was a little more expensive than the $800 we'd come up with. And so we said, how can we get enough money to buy this wheelchair? A friend of mine from California says, "T-shirts. Everybody will buy a T-shirt." I said, "Nah, what would we put on a T-shirt?" He said, "A picture of the Push." And I said, "Who wants to buy one of those?" He says, "You'd be amazed." Well, it was kind of an expensive proposition to get these T-shirts manufactured. But he said, "Don't worry about it. It will work." And I said, "Well, what's the smallest order we can get?" He said, "A gross." Well, I thought, 144 T-shirts. Somehow we scraped together enough money to get the initial batch. And when people found out we had these T-shirts, we could not mail them out fast enough. And to make a long story short, over the next few years, we sold $65,000 worth of t-shirts. So we were able to get him the motorized wheelchair, and we formed the Earl Aman Courage Foundation. Said, okay, now what good is the motorized wheelchair? All he can do is run up and down the block. We need a van with a hydraulic lift on the back so that he can wheel onto the lift, raise it up, go into the van, and his wife can take him anywhere he wants to go. Well, the van was going to cost about $65,000. And so we launched the t-shirt sales to see if we could get $65,000. An underclassman of Earl's at the Air Force Academy had gone on to become vice chairman of General Motors. I was living in Golden, Colorado, and he got wind of this and gave me a call, and he said, I'd like you to come to the Air Force Academy, to the former Students Center, and meet with me there. I said, okay. So I drove down there and went in to see him and said, I don't know how long it's going to take us, but we're going to get the money. He said, you don't need to worry about that. I'm going to give you a van. And he contacted the GM dealers in the San Antonio area and put it on them and said, this is one of your guys. Find a van and give it to him. And they did. They had it modified with a lift, hydraulic lift, and that was like giving him new wings. He wanted to go back to the academy for his 35th reunion, class reunion, and his doctor there in San Antonio said, you will never make it over Raton Pass. You can't tolerate that altitude. And he said, I don't care if I die, I'm going. And they had one of these little devices that you put on your finger to measure oxygen level. And everybody in the van, his wife and his brother-in-law, and he, took a little blood sampling when they went over the pass. And because he was sitting there breathing on a respirator and so forth, he had more oxygen than anybody. And it was great. He had a wonderful time at the reunion. And I had told him, I said, okay, when you finish your reunion, we're going to run over to Angel Fire, New Mexico, and present you and Bob Houghton with a Silver Star.